Good evening. We are on Chapter 5, Security and Lighting Issues. What lights do we pick? How do they work? And why do we need lighting? Let's take a look. We're going to look at why lighting is used in different situations, what's the best lighting, cost effective, and is total brightness the best for protecting us at night? Let's take a look at what everyone says. All right, here's the basic security lighting, right? What does lighting do for us? Makes businesses' merchandise more attractive, promotes safety, improves employee morale, enhances real estate value, creates a psychological deterrent to intrusion, and enables detection, right? If it's pitch black, and we're trying to take a picture of a criminal, we can't see it when we play it back. So having some type of lighting allows us to record better. So we're going to examine that aspect of it. So to analyze lighting deficiencies, we had to do it at night, right? Where do we care? Methods of entry, areas of inadequate lighting, and sometimes we need to let the police know if there's something that we need to look at. But what are we looking for? We want to make sure that lighting provides a safe environment for everyone. So we have different levels of lighting. Bright light to do their work. Darkness cannot be seen. And dim light. Enough light to break in, but not enough to be observed. And so we're going to look at some of the aspects of that. So what the dim lighting, the four different types of brightness. So if we look at a burglar, obviously if it's super bright out, it is deterrent. But it also allows them to see what's going on. Total darkness is difficult for them because they can't see what's going on. So experts say that dim lighting is best for criminals, where it's just enough, but not it. In total darkness, they'll have a flashlight, so it doesn't really help them because that could be suspicious. They can't see what they're doing. So again, it's not always total darkness or total brightness that is best for criminals. Worse, but it's the dim lighting where you just have a little bit, someone can see what they're doing and break in. So that's some of the things that we take into account. So how do we discuss lighting? Luminous per watt, measured in lamp efficiency, right? And luminous is the intensity of light. In foot candles is the English measurement, lux is the metric. And basically it's how far 1 foot from the light source, how bright it is. So let's take a look at some of the different things. So direct sunlight is approximately 10,000 foot candles. Overcast day, 100, and full moon at night, very little. And we can look at when we're setting up parking garages or office or any type of building. These are the standards that have been designed that we should have. So a self-parking garage should have 1 foot candle, attendance parking, because there's actually someone there, 0.2 to 0.9, covered parking area, 5 foot candles, and so on, right? Why do we care? Lighting takes up energy. So if we don't need the extra lighting, do we want to put it up? And that's what we have to kind of examine again is, what are we trying to protect? Is it worth putting up as bright as we should or we could, or do we want to make sure we limit the range so we don't pay extra? Because everything does cost money. So let's look at the different types of lighting. We have incandescent. These are commonly found in residence areas, passing through tungsten wire becomes hot and white, and that's what our light is. Usually about 10 to 20 luminous per watt. And the lifetime is about 9,000 hours. A halogen light is an incandescent bulb with halogen gas. And we have the fluorescent, which is very popular in homes and especially in office buildings. They pass electricity through a gas enclosed in a gas tube, yielding about 40 to 80 lumens per watt. And they can create twice as much light for half the price in heat. They usually last about 5 to 10 times longer than regular bulbs, so they can last up to 20,000 hours. A mercury vapor lamp also has electricity going through gases. They yield 30 to 60 luminous and last about 20,000 hours. The metal halide lamp, they're also gases type that yield 80 to 100 lumens per hour. They last about 10,000. These are usually used in stadiums. Very bright. They have similar to daylight, where the color is more of the daylight, so everything can be seen easily. And we have the high pressure sodium lamps. These are gaseous lights, yield about 100 lumens per watt, and they last about 20,000. These are usually street lights, so they have the area that they can see. Low pressure sodium is another gaseous, produces about 150 lumens per watt. They're expensive to run and even expensive to maintain. We have LEDs. LEDs lighting is cost effective and should meet lighting standards and guidelines for brightness, but do not serve this. These lights are Christmas tree bulbs. They last up to 50,000 hours. LEDs are becoming very popular. They're in cars everywhere we see them. Super bright, so they're really good. We have the quartz. The lamp emits a very high, bright light and snap on almost rapidly. As soon as you turn it on, the quartz light comes on. And the last one, these lights are similar to the fluorescents, however, do not contain mercury. Each type of light has the color rendation index, how the lamp's output affects human perception. And so why is this important? Especially if you're having something something recorded, we don't do video anymore, by making sure that the CRI is correct, it makes it so it looks like sunlight. So if you could tell if someone of colors in the room or outside or they're white, you can see the color of their shirts. And that's the purpose of why we care about the color retention index, is that we can help if we're trying to track someone down. If we don't have this, if it's very low, someone in dark colors will be all black, but with a high CRI, we can see that their shirt could be purple, their pants could be blue, and we can see the difference. So it's important that we make sure that when we're setting up our lighting, that we have it correct so that we can see what we want to see. Again, these are some of the different lamps that we can use, and the purpose of them: 100% incandescent fluorescent halogen. Metal halide offers great for closed caption TV. Good lamps for rendition, but might have a blue thing. Low sodium, poor rendition. Yellow, colors are unrecognized. So if we want something that we want to be able to see who's there and what they're wearing, it's just better to have this lights. And again, this is some planning that we have to think about, and cost. What are we trying to protect, and what do we want to look at? Mercury vapor metal halide takes several minutes to produce full light, but when it's turned off, it takes a long time, and you have to wait for it to cool to put it back on. Again, used at stadiums. Incandescent halogens event instant light when electricity is turned on. So lighting is good. Here are some standards that you can go to. National Lighting Bureau, Illuminating Engineers Society of North America, and International Association of Lighting Management Companies. So you want to take a look at these, and these set the standards so you don't have to sit there. You can say, hey, this is the size I have, this is what I'm building, this is the lighting that I need. And it will protect you. And again, costs, return on investment. This is what lighting is about, right? I can make any night turn into day, but does it make sense? The cost is going to be astronomical. Energy, it's about, every day, what is your energy bill? And I'm sure when you're growing up, it's like, turn off the lights. The capital cost usually isn't super expensive, as it says 8%. Maintenance cost, what does it cost to change a bulb? If it's 50 feet in the air at the stadium, it's going to cost more, so you want something that's going to last. If it's a light bulb in your bedroom, what does it take to change a light bulb? Same with the LED fluorescent lights. So these are some of the things you want. Return on investment broken down, efficiency and energy, saving buybacks, reduce costs, and concept of going green, right? LEDs are probably the most efficient. That helps us understand where we want to get to. Lighting equipment, street lights, incandescent and gaseous discharge. Fresnel lights, wide flat beam directed outward, protects perimeters, glares into those approaching. Floodlights, stationary, but beams can be aimed. So again, what are we trying to light? Am I trying to light a field that I might need? Something like the street light might be the best. But if I'm trying to ward off someone from approaching, the Fresnel light might work. And floodlights are good for pointing, lighting up a certain area. So again, each light provides a slightly different thing as we want to look at. Do we want it as a perimeter? So people can see that this is where we are. Direct, lights down away from the facility, create a glare for an intruder, making sure the direct light does not hinder observation by patrolling officers. Do not leave dark spaces between lighting areas for burglars to move in. Design lighting to permit overlapping illumination. Protect the lighting system. Located inside barriers. Install protective covers over lamps so they can't be broken. Electric lights enable the light to go on and off automatically with natural light. Consider motion activated, right? That's a big one, motion activated. Light will go on, you have some basic lighting, but when something shows up, more lighting will come on. Vicinity, navigating waters, contact the Coast Guard. Try not to disturb neighbors. Don't put them up high, they should be aimed down low. Maintain a supply of portable energy. Some lights will have battery backup. So if they lose power, the lights will stay on. This is also important for interior. You got to have some type of lighting. If you lose power, fire, you have your exits are also on. Good interior lights also deter burglars. Locating lights all over the place. I know where I live, I have lights that go on automatically. There's like a 10-minute window on either side, so if I set it to go on at 6 p.m. if we're not home, it still goes on. Go anywhere from 5:50 to 6:10, so if someone's watching the house, it doesn't always go on at the same time. So you're going to have automatic lights going on and off. Definitely worth it even in your business. Join other petitions to other owners that we want to look at. So how do we measure it? What do you need to know about lighting? Watts, measure the amount of electricity. Foot candles measure the light of a surface of 1 square foot area. Lumen, unit of light, output for a lamp. A lamp term that refers to a light source, also called bulbs. The lux is the measurement of illumination. Intensity of light, brightness, intensity of the sensation from light as seen. Foot Lambert measures brightness, glare, excessive brightness, luminary. Complete lighting unit consists of 1 or more lamps joined together, so that's the whole system. The ballast is usually for fluorescent bulbs, turning the electricity into the voltage needed. The high intensity discharge lights, identify 4 types of mercury vapor, metal halide, and low pressure sodium. Contrast, coefficients of utilization, the ratio of the light delivered from the luminary to the surface, contrast, relationship between the brightness of it, louvers, series of baffles that shield the lamp from direct view, reflectors, devices used to redirect the light, tasks or working light, amount of light falling on the object. Let's see what else. Louvers, reflector, veiling, reflection, incandescent lamps produce light by passing electricity through current. Fluorescent, second most common. They draw electricity along the length of the tube, and the ultraviolet light is produced. Let's see. Energy management. And again, we talked about this. We can light up anything we want, but is it worth it? When not needed, do we need the lights? How much light should we put on? Reducing the energy of waste. Obviously, LEDs becoming more efficient at lighting everything, so we need to make sure that we're going to put in the areas that we need it. Lighting design and personnel needed. Recognize inefficiencies, installation. Understand environments and cost. Estimate cost. Recognize when expert knowledge is needed. How to increase business while preserving the environment. So as we look at lighting, all these things come back. What about the environment? We want to make sure we don't do that. In the past, we always looked at brighter was better, large floodlights, strong white glare. But as it tends to change, that is very expensive. We have other methods to go where we could just light up where we need the light. Instead of lighting up the entire neighborhood, we can just light up the areas that are needed. So that is the newer way of thinking. More cost effective, right? We're trying to cut down on light pollution, too much light, versus energy consumption, right? And today energy sources are getting more expensive, so we want to make sure we can cut back on the lighting. Some light pollution needed. Is it decorative? Does it design with compromise in mind? External lights provide minimal light pollution, safe, attractive features. Do we need to have it as bright as we need as it is? Some checklists when we're creating lighting, perimeter lighting. What do we have on? Why do we want it around the outside? We know where we are. Extra lighting at entry points, people coming up steps. We want to make sure that the lighting's there. Power supplies. Do they have backup power if we lose power? So in the areas, for safety point of view, this is a big thing, especially in entranceways where there's steps or a crosswalk or something on that area. Shadowed areas. Is there overlapping of the light? We don't want shadow areas, especially if there's an entry point in that area, because then criminals can take advantage of it. So we want to keep shadow areas and entry points very lit. In their parking areas, again, we can look at the standard, make sure for the square footage of the parking area we have the right light. Auxiliary power sources, we talked about that. Outside storage areas, are they well lit? Areas of high value, again, what's the cost that we're trying to protect? Let's see, some lighting checklist, recommendations for where we want to be. Again, we can look at this. The vehicular, we want 10-foot foot candles. Pedestrian, 5, because people are driving, we need more of that. Outer area perimeters, interior structures, open piers and decks. As you can see, these are all the recommendations by the standards. Again, if we're having in the areas, 15-foot candles, and security gatehouses, look at that, up to 30-foot candles we want. Security guard houses, interior, they need to be able to see anyone coming, so they're lit much better. If we're going to use closed circuit TV, Detection, recognition, and identification. You can see just to detect someone walking by, we only need 0.5 foot candles, but if we want to recognize them, it's 1 foot candle. But if we want to identify it, so again, what is the purpose of the lighting? What are we trying to accomplish? It's not just put up a light and let's see what happens. Parking structures, as we can said in the past, they have much brighter lighting areas, loading areas, docks, so we want to make sure we can identify everything going on. Luminance measures the quality, quantity, or flow through it, and luminous is the concentration over a area. Again, we can measure it in lux or foot candles. Reflectiveness, object seen is from the light reflected on the object. If no light, only a silhouette. If it's illuminated in white light, color will not be true. So we want to make sure, because this is what is being picked up on the video that's being recorded. So depending on the light, what granularity do we want to capture? And again, as they get closer, if someone's at a front door, we might want a much higher reflectance so that we can see exactly who it is, facial recognition. We talked about the CRI, measuring the ability of the lamp to reproduce colors. Again, we want it as high as possible. In daylight, we can see colors blue and gray on it. If it gets too low at night, we can't see what they're wearing. Everything will look black. So it's important that we try to, where we want to pick it up. So if at an entry point, we're going to have a really good camera to pick up the CRI to make sure that we can see colors versus just a black and white. The lamp or light bulb is the filament with the glass casing. Types of lamps, incandescent, mercury. We've kind of covered all these different things. Major components of it: the luminary, the mounting hardware, and electrical power. How do we get all this information to where we need to be? Again, what are we trying to protect? What do we want lit? So it makes it simple. All right, end of chapter 5.